Rainy day commute. I woke up to the sound of rain hitting my window. It was coming down hard, and I knew I was in for a wet walk to my workspace. I got dressed, put on my raincoat and grabbed my umbrella. As I stepped outside, a chill ran down my spine. It was unusually cold, and the wind was howling like a banshee. The streets were deserted, and I felt like I was the only one crazy enough to venture out in this weather. The sound of raindrops hitting the pavement was the only noise I could hear. As I walked, I saw something out of the corner of my eye. It was a figure standing in the shadows, watching me. I quickened my pace, feeling my heart pounding in my chest. My shoes splashed through puddles of water, and my umbrella struggled to stay open against the wind. But I kept going, determined to make it to my meeting. Finally, I arrived at my workspace, drenched from head to toe. As I opened the door, I noticed that the room was eerily silent. It was as if someone had been there but had disappeared without a trace. I sat down for my meeting, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Suddenly, I heard a creaking sound coming from the ceiling. I looked up and saw a pair of glowing eyes staring back at me. I jumped up, knocking over my chair, and ran out of the room. As I raced down the hall, I heard footsteps following me. I turned around but saw no one. Finally, I made it outside, gasping for air. The rain had stopped, and the sun was peeking through the clouds. I looked back at the building and saw that the windows were now dark and empty. As the days went by, I couldn't stop thinking about the strange incident at my workspace. I decided to do some research and found out that the building had a dark history. It used to be a hospital, and there were rumors of patients being mistreated and even tortured. My curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to investigate further. I went back to the building, armed with a flashlight and a camera. As I explored the abandoned halls and rooms, I felt a sense of dread washing over me. I heard strange noises, like whispers and moans, coming from the walls. I saw shadows moving in the corners of my eyes, but when I turned to look, there was nothing there. As I reached the basement, I found a room that was locked from the outside. I tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. Suddenly, I heard a voice whispering my name. I turned around, but there was no one there. I tried to leave, but the door was now locked. Panic set in, and I started to run, looking for a way out. But the more I tried, the more lost I became. Finally, I found myself back in the room I started in, and I saw the figure that had been watching me before. It was a ghostly apparition, pale and gaunt, with glowing eyes. I tried to run again, but the ghostly figure followed me, reaching out with long, bony fingers. I struggled to break free, but it was no use. The ghostly figure was too strong. As the ghostly figure held me tight, I felt a coldness creep over me. It was as if my very soul was being drained from me. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. Finally, the ghostly figure released me and disappeared into the shadows. I lay on the floor, gasping for breath. I crawled towards the door, and to my surprise, it was now unlocked. I stumbled outside and collapsed on the street. The rain had started again, and it felt like needles hitting my skin. As I lay there, shivering and scared, I realized that I had been lucky to escape. I knew that I could never go back to that building again. It was cursed, haunted by the spirits of those who had suffered there. From that day on, I worked from home, too scared to venture out into the city. I couldn't shake the feeling that the ghostly figure was still watching me, waiting for its next victim. And whenever it rained, I stayed inside, safe from the horrors that lurked in the darkness. I knew that I could never forget the terror that I had experienced that fateful day, and I was forever changed by it.